الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن سيدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله الذي بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الغمة وجاهد في سبيل الله حق جهاده صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله يحب المحسنين. وقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: إن الله كتب الإحسان على كل شيء، فإذا قتلتم فأحسنوا القتلة، وإذا ذبحتم فأحسنوا الذبح، وليحد أحدكم شفرته وليحد ذبيحته. رواه مسلم. صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم. Respected elders, brothers and sisters, as we know, by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we started the new Islamic year. We are in the month of Muharram, and that is also close to finishing. As it is the tradition in this country as well as in the Islamic tradition, that mashayikh of the past would instruct their students to have an exercise of what they call muhasabah. Muhasabah comes from hisab in Arabic. You need to take account. A person takes account of what a person did in the previous year, or in the case of these people who are very much concerned about their akhirah, every night it was a nightly exercise that whatever a person did during the day, they would take account of that. Whatever a person said, whatever a person did physically, they would take account of that. Out of this, is this in accordance to the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Is this not? If so, bihamdillah, shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you make dua for istiqamah. And if it's not, then you try to correct it. What you did, you try to perfect it, you try to better it. And where a person is lacking, a person makes tawbah and turns to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One is that a person does this as a daily exercise. At the very least, we can say it is in our tradition that at least a person at the end of the year or something of that nature, a person uses this as an excuse. Not to say that you have to do it at the end of the year or beginning of a certain year, but a person should start somewhere. So if it's not every day, then at least do it once a year. So with this in mind, I thought perhaps there can be something, a resolution, a muhasabah that we can also make for the upcoming year. One is that personally, each person has their own goals in mind. A person has their own goals that they would like to achieve and how they would like to better themselves. But perhaps there are certain universal aspects that we can speak about, which are communal and which are applicable to everyone. In this regard, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has mentioned a hadith which perhaps might be applicable to us at this point. The Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, "Inna Allah kataba al-ihsana ala kulli shay." And this will be the one quality that perhaps that we can concentrate on and try to better ourselves in this year, inshallah, personally and at a communal level. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, "Inna Allah kataba al-ihsana ala kulli shay." That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordained that ihsan be adopted in everything. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordained that ihsan should be adopted in every aspect, in everything. In Allah kataba al-ihsana ala kulli shay. We translate ihsan, a loose translation, as perfection. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordained that perfection should be, a person should try to do it. Ihsan comes from husn. Husn means goodness. To bring goodness in the things that a person does. A person, for example, you say a person cleans the house. There's two ways of doing it. One is that person just randomly, nonchalantly, a person just doing it. Other is a person is very meticulous about it. Like this, you can apply this to everything. A person goes through a course. One is a person barely passes. Other is passes with flying colors. There's two ways of doing something. One is that you barely get it done, or you just get it done, the minimal, the bare requirements. And the other is a person brings ihsan into that. A person does it as it should be done, or the best a person can. You do it at that level. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's Rasul has mentioned that إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَتَبَ الْإِحْسَانَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also wants that we adopt ihsan in everything. فَإِذَا قَتَلْتُمْ فَأَحْسِنُوا الْقِتْلَةَ. Then Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam gives two examples. One has to do with the justice system, that although a person, the judge, is meting out a punishment to the criminal, but even in that ihsan should be adopted. فَإِذَا قَتَلْتُمْ فَأَحْسِنُوا الْقِتْلَةَ. A person is a criminal, they've been charged for murder, so they will also be, their life will also be taken, capital punishment. So فَإِذَا قَتَلْتُمْ فَأَحْسِنُوا الْقِتْلَةَ. A person cannot do when the judge gives the order, then this life should be taken also in an appropriate manner, in a humane manner. إِذَا قَتَلْتُمْ فَأَحْسِنُوا الْقِتْلَةَ. وَإِذَا ذَبَحْتُمْ. We passed the month of Udhiyah, of Dhul Hijjah. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that when you slaughter an animal, وَإِذَا ذَبَحْتُمْ فَأَحْسِنُوا الذِّبْحَ. Do it in the best way. How? وَلْيُحِدَّ أَحَدُكُمْ شَفْرَتَهُ وَلْيُرِحْ ذَبِيحَتَهُ. That a person should make sure the knife is sharp, so it doesn't hurt the animal. وَلْيُرِحْ ذَبِيحَتَهُ. Before that, a person should give water, for example, to the animal, so that it's relaxed, so that it's calm, so it doesn't go through any pain. The two examples of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, these are just two examples. It's not that ihsan is only in this. Why? Because Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَتَبَ الْإِحْسَانَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. That indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordained that ihsan should be adopted in everything. Now, as I mentioned, that ihsan has both levels or both angles. The one is ihsan as far as our personal matter is concerned, individually. That I in my own right, I in my own a'mal and actions, in my own obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, adopt the sifa, the quality of ihsan. That's one. And the other is that as a community, how do we make sure that those things which ought to be performed, or those responsibilities which are to be fulfilled as a community, how can we as a community do it in the best of ways? So there's both angles to this. So if you take the example of ibadah, for example, that we all perform salah. Before salah, we perform our wudu. Now this is an example of individually. So we don't do collective wudu, each person does his or her own wudu. So one is a person makes it through the requirements, the bare requirements of wudu, the fara'id of wudu. Merely washing the face, right? Then the arms, the mash, and the feet. But a person does this haphazardly. You run in, quickly do whatever, throwing water all over the place, and then quickly rush into the masjid. Wudu is done. Technically, a person's wudu is done. But the question is, has ihsan been adopted? Did this person adopt ihsan in doing the wudu? Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that we should try to adopt ihsan in this. إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَتَبَ الْإِحْسَانَ عَلَيْهِ. So a person, rather than rushing into wudu, a person should put himself, herself into this mode. That what am I going to do over here? What is this act? That over here, this is a pre-requirement, a prerequisite to my salah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made this as a sabab, as a cause of even before performing my salah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is already purifying me. That we hope through the physical act, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala purifies the inner. But this will only happen if a person slows down. This will only happen if a person is conscious. This will only happen if a person adopts ihsan in the wudu. So a person comes, you make your niyyah, a person doesn't have to say it, a person knows what he's doing. Then you start with washing your hands, and with each limb, as the water is coming off, a person thinks that whatever mistakes I have done, that these are coming off. If anything wrong has been done through the hands, and these are coming out. If I have spoken anything ill when I rinse my mouth, and these mistakes are being washed away. This is how a person adopts ihsan in his wudu, as an example. Then a person comes towards performing salah. And the same way, again, the person recognizes, has khushu', is concentrating in the salah. Each person is thinking about what's happening. That you put your head in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is sujood. Rasulullah said that the closest a person can be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in the condition of sajda. So a person should adopt ihsan in this salah. Not merely we're just going through the motions and the actions. If ihsan is adopted, then a person will see the benefits of these. So this is an example at the individual, the personal level. How about the communal level? That, for example, one communal act that needs to be performed for our salah, using the same example of salah, is the adhan. The Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given a lofty stage to those that are the mu'adhinun. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran Kareem, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا. One tafsir of this ayah, مَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ, that who can be better than that one that calls towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One tafsir of this is the mu'adhin. Many mufassirun have mentioned this. That in this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is referring to the mu'adhin. That this is the best person. Who can be better than the one that calls towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Why? Why is this the best person? That at the end of the adhan, what dua is read? Allahumma rabba hadhihi ad-da'wati at-tamma. O Allah, the Lord of this complete call. In adhan, there is a complete da'wah towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, towards tawheed, towards oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, towards the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The person that stands and 5 times a day they're giving this adhan, this call again and again, who can be better than that person? That's ayah of the Quran Kareem. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Al-mu'adhinun atwalu a'naqan yawm al-qiyamah. That the loftiest stages will be given to those that are mu'adhinun in the dunya at the Day of Judgment. Those that were the mu'adhins, they will be given the loftiest stage. And then how did Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, so Quran, one dalil from Quran, one from Sunnah, from Hadith, third from Seerah. The Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when the wahi came, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed through a sahabi, 2 sahaba, that the call towards salah should be through the adhan. When the sahaba radiallahu anhum gathered and Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam made mashura, consulted with them that how should we call people towards salah. So some gave one suggestion, some gave another suggestion. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through a dream of a sahabi, and he got interpreted from Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, which became wahi, said that it should be the adhan that will be given. So Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, now try to follow with me that this is such a great act in our deen. That is what we're trying to establish. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has called the mu'adhin, the greatest person, the greatest caller. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that the mu'adhinun will have the loftiest stages in Jannah. And third, the seerah of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that when it came time to pick that who will give this adhan, Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam didn't make it a free-for-all. That whoever wants, whoever volunteers, or this small child should get up and he should give the adhan, right? Because no one else wants to. Rather, Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that call Bilal لأنه أندى صوتا. Because right now they don't have microphones, they need someone who can make this call and it can be reached to the furthest place. Or others said that أندى صوتا also means that he had the best voice, or he was the most qualified for that. Shurah of Hadith explain this, ulama of Hadith. So such a great act in our deen, and how should we adapt? How did Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam adapt it, or how did Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Sahaba approach it? Is that they looked for ihsan in it. Yes, they could have picked anyone. Yes, they could have told the child also to stand up and give the adhan, but they understood that the adhan is a calling towards salah. If the call towards salah we don't give any attention to, then how much attention will you give to your salah? It's something which it's an introduction to salah. And if you have no, a person, what helps in this world, whenever a person wants to call towards their restaurant, towards their whatever they're doing, is that they advertise. So they make sure their advertising is very good. Why? Because they know that this is what will attract people towards it. They understand the importance of this. That's in this world. Right? There's no value to that. Over here we're speaking about salah, a connection between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his bondsmen. And this is the call towards that salah. So imagine how important it is for us as a community that we kind of come out of our bubble and we see how much more needs to be done. And one example would be the establishment of adhan in the best of ways. That as a community, do we even think that this is something that should be done? Or is it as a culture that has spread throughout the country, definitely, that it is no longer considered to be a worthy post that the community should fill in as a full-time responsibility? This is something as a community we should think about. And if the hadith and ayah make sense to us, then we should think about how do we bring ihsan into it. And ihsan can only be brought into it if we pick and if we require that the best of us give that, or the best possible that we have. And we facilitate for that and we create a space for that. Why? Because this is a matter of our salah. So this is one example. In the same light, you can see that this is what the Sahaba, I gave you examples from the Sirah, from the Quran. And Rasul and the Sahaba as a community never settled for what was the bare minimum. Rasulullah, the hadith of Rasul جُعِلَتْ لِي الْأَرْضُ مَسْجِدًا وَطَهُورًا, for example. Rasulullah said that the entire earth, the entire land has been made for me a masjid. And a person, anywhere they are, they can perform salah as long as there's no najis on it. There's nothing which is impure. جُعِلَتْ لِي الْأَرْضُ مَسْجِدًا. So this is one hadith of Rasulullah. The Rasulullah said what? That the entire land, the entire world has been made for me as a masjid. Anywhere a Muslim wants, he can perform their salah as long as it is pure. What's the first thing that Rasulullah does when he comes to Medina Munawwarah? He builds a masjid. He establishes the masjid. On the one end, Rasulullah, the hadith is جُعِلَتْ لِي الْأَرْضُ مَسْجِدًا. That the entire land, the entire world, anywhere a person wants, they can perform salah. Then why did Rasulullah make a masjid? The point is that ihsan was adopted in this. That yes, anywhere a person can pray, but will it have the same effects as if the community has a specific place to come and gather? And that place is made specific. So for this, we should be happy that alhamdulillah, we haven't settled for the bare requirement. Yani the community, it is possible for us that we follow in this path of the sunnah, that we adopt ihsan in our deen. That just as Rasulullah didn't settle and the Sahaba didn't settle for the bare minimum, that all the entire earth, anywhere we can pray. Right? It's a land of the Arab and Muslims anyways in Medina. We can pray anywhere. Why do we need to make a masjid? That wasn't the attitude. The attitude was that let's make a concentrated effort on making a place where we can perform our salah in the best of ways. And then they did that the same thing with their adhan, for example. So this is one example. That there are more examples I had in mind also to speak about that we as a community can move forward in. But even if we take one or two examples, inshallah, and we understand the point behind it, is that in anything and everything we do, this is not a point of education. So we know the adhan and the importance of adhan. But the importance is that how do we bring goodness and ihsan and perfection to the best of our abilities in whatever we do. We make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq. Wa akhiru da'wan alhamdulillah. Give a few minutes for sunnah, inshallah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We have a few quick announcements, inshallah. Tonight, after Salat al Maghrib, we have our youth program that we have been mentioning for the past few weeks. The title will be Social Media, the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. We are hosting, inshallah, professional scholars from Khalil Center, male and female, for boys and girls, to address this very relevant issue that is pertaining to our children, inshallah. This is for boys and girls ages 12 through 18, inshallah. Please make sure if you have children that age, bring them, register them on our website, inshallah. If they are under that age, please do not bring them, inshallah. So this is for children 12 and up, inshallah, 12 through 18. Secondly, we have also a special purpose general body meeting taking place on October 6th after Dhuhr Salat here in the masjid, inshallah. Everyone is welcome to attend, inshallah, and especially encourage our members to be part of this general body meeting. Moving on, inshallah, on October 14th, which is